Well, I'd like to welcome you to QuikiTech. And before we go too much further, I'd like to ask that you enlarge your YouTube screen. You can do that by just rolling your mouse over the YouTube, and there's a little square at the bottom right. Click on that so that you can see all the wording on this presentation more clearly. Now, this presentation is incredibly important because I want to help you get the most not only out of your QuikiTech experience, but out of your experience in obtaining salary points over the life of your career. And so let's go ahead and begin by talking about the ABCs of the salary point process. I've had professionals come to me and say, Donnie, I'm confused about this salary point process. Well, I'd like to say this very profound statement. You should not be confused about this process. In fact, you should plan your process because you can make as much as $200,000 more over the life of your career if you have proper planning. So let's go ahead and talk about the ABCs. A is understand where you are on the salary point chart. B is understand the process. And then C is have a plan to finish your salary points earlier in your career so you can get to what are called career increments. Okay, so how do you find out where you are on the salary point chart? Go to this particular URL, that's point 1. Click on View Your Salary Point Information, and then enter your employee ID and birth date. That's point 3 there. And then you'll see a lot of information, but you're looking for 2 numbers. You're looking for your salary point number, and you'll see in that first circle. In this example, this particular teacher has 27 salary points. And then you're looking for the second number, and that's the number of years of service. And this teacher has 1 year of service. Well, once you have those 2 numbers, that forms basically the row and the column of where you are on the salary point chart. It's called the salary table, and you'll notice here this particular teacher has 27 salary points, so she's in this bracket. All she needs is 1 more salary point to bump over to the next bracket. So you should have the number in your mind very readily available of how many salary points you need to get to the next bracket. And the process of getting salary points should not just be a matter of teaching year after year. That will move you horizontally. But getting salary points is really the intelligent way to go for your career because it moves you to the next bracket. And that will actually do this for you. Let's go to a web page, and this particular web page is actually showing the salary table. That URL is actually on the slide that I just showed you, and I'll point out that URL again. But this is the table that you want to be aware of. And I would really encourage you to take some time and just go ahead and look at where you are on this table. And so our particular person has 1 year of service, so they're in column 1, and they have 27 points, so they're right here. What they want to do is they want to march methodically toward getting the maximum salary points, which is 98 points. And by their 10th year, be at this particular location. Now I know a lot of you teachers are already in your 11th, 12th, 15th, 20th year. But for all of us, we want to get to this point where we have 98 points, and then we're at this point of a salary of $72,592. Now, once you fulfill the 2 requirements of having 98 points and 10 years of service, this is the wonderful thing that happens to you. You jump down to a table where your next 11, 12, 13, and 14 years of service obtain what are called career increments, and your salary increases even more. Now, why is this absolutely critical? Well, there's probably no article that makes this more clear than an article written in the UTLA newspaper called Why Retire for Less? And it gives the example of 3 teachers, Miss Scarlett, Miss White, and Miss Peacock. Miss Scarlett says to herself, I just have no time. So she doesn't get salary points. Miss White says, you know what? I know salary points are important. I'll take them when I feel like it. But Miss Peacock, she basically is the person we all want to be like. And it's incredible. I want you to read this article. I'll show you the URL. But she makes $400,000. You're reading those numbers right. $400,000 more than Miss Scarlett and $200,000 more than Miss White because she plans. So what's the moral of the story I'm trying to make here? I'm trying to encourage you at some point in time you need to pull out pencil and paper and create a table for yourself and write out a plan for the number of salary points that you're going to get each year. And so this particular table is an example. In the first column, write out 10 years worth if you're a first year. And if you have the time, and I would really encourage you to do this, go ahead and write down the companies or the educational institutions or the online educational institutions that you'd like to take courses from. And then plan out how many salary points you're going to get per year. So this particular person, she knows that she only needs one more point to get to the next bracket. But she says to herself, you know what? I'm going to get 4 more points. Then in the next column, go ahead and write out the courses that you're taking. So she says, you know what? I'm going to take the iPad course from QuikiTech. Their normal price is $100. Hopefully I can get one of their specials and bring that price down. It's 1 salary point. I'll also take the 21st century class. It's 2 salary points. Regular price is $150. And you know what? I want to take one more course. And how about I take the Math Early Childhood Education UCLA course? And so you walk over to the UCLA website and you look and you see, okay, for $290, they have this early childhood education course that I'd like to take. Go ahead and call the district, make sure you can take it, and that will give you another salary point. Now, of course, you have to drive to the Westwood UCLA area 5 times in order to finish the course, and it's a little bit more pricey, but it's worth it to get your points. Go ahead and write that down, and write a date down where when you're going to actually start these courses. And then always write down how many more points you have, this is in the last column, to get to the next bracket. So that number is in your mind. Eventually, your goal is to get that extra $200,000 over the life of your career. So that article I pointed you to, it's located here. Feel free to pause the video and you can read that at your own time. I want to also explain to you that our courses have met the requirements for obtaining salary points and also for obtaining professional development points if you're outside the Los Angeles school district. I want to make this really simple point because you're going to see a particular style in my teaching, and I think it helps for you to understand what motivates my style. There has been some definite research that's been done to examine what are the factors that produce effective teaching in the classroom. And they've shown that if you take a teacher that only has their bachelor's, but they care for their students, they're interested in what they have to say, they create an environment that's safe for learning, where kids can ask questions, and their classroom becomes an innovation lab, where students' thought process begin to really flow and collaboration takes place. And then you compare that teacher with a teacher who has their PhD, but they don't care about the students. They don't create a safe environment. When a student doesn't answer correctly, they take that as an opportunity to critique the student rather than to help the student understand that there's many ways of thinking about many things and that their idea has potential. When you compare the two teachers, the teacher that just has their bachelor but has trained classroom engagement skills is more effective for the students' learning process than the teacher that has their PhD but doesn't care about the students. So why do I mention that? You will see in our teaching style a kind of enthusiasm, and behind that enthusiasm is a motivation that I have that you would love the teaching profession. And I hope after each lesson you take with QuikiTech, you look forward more to going back and seeing your students in the classroom and being in their presence. And so that kind of enthusiasm permeates my lessons. I don't want you to just go through dry how-to lessons. I want you to become one of those teachers that really loves what you do in the classroom. Another thing I want to show you is look at these 3 companies. What do they all have in common? What does In-N-Out have in common with Jiffy Lube? And what does it have in common with QuikiTech? Well, all 3 of these institutions tailor to the busy working professional. For In-N-Out, you want a burger. You know they have the drive-thru. You grab your burger. You're in and you're out. For Jiffy Lube, for $19.95, you can go ahead and pull your car up, and within 1 hour, they'll change your oil and you can drive off. QuikiTech has the same kind of philosophy. That's why we have this Quickie in here. The Quickie in QuikiTech is the same as the Jiffy in Jiffy Lube and the In and Out. It's to give you the realization that we want you to get your salary points as quick as possible. And so what I would encourage you to do is plan a time each week, maybe it's Saturday from 2 to 4, 2 to 5, where you're going to go to Starbucks and you're going to get a coffee and you're going to have your iPad or your laptop, or you're going to stay at home and be on your desktop, and you're going to get in and you're going to get out. You're going to get into a lesson, you'll watch the videos, you'll go ahead and read the portion, you'll go ahead and take the quiz, do the homework, post on the forum, and then you'll get out. And then you're done. Some lessons only take 1 hour, some lessons may take 3 to 4 hours. But you have this set time, maybe it's a Saturday, maybe it's another day, where you just kind of drive up to QuikiTech, go ahead and take the course, get the value you need, and then you run off with the goods to your classroom with new ideas that spark creativity in your classroom. And so we really want you to move through the salary point chart more quickly. And so we really hope that each class would not drag out, and you wouldn't have this feeling of, oh, a professional development class. Believe me, I totally understand. Teachers, don't you agree with me? We work like 60, 70-hour weeks. And the last thing we want when we get home is to take a class. And so I get it. And so I want each of these lessons to be engaging and fun and really provide you value as quickly as possible. One thing I do want to mention is that we can't do quickly is force the district to apply your salary points quicker. They need 12 weeks to actually process your salary points. Now, why is that? It's because you can only take a particular class one time in 5 years. So if you take our iPad class this year, and then you take it again next year, as opposed to in 5 years, the district, when they actually receive your salary points, they have to not only take your salary point form and make sure it's from an institution that really has followed the process that the Los Angeles School District has outlined. They have to make sure that you haven't taken that class in the last 5 years. And if they see, oh wait, they took this class this year and they took it the past year, they then have to only give you credit for just one time. Okay, now think about them having to do that for what? The 31,000 teachers in the Los Angeles School District who are taking courses from 15 to 20 different institutions. So they need the time, the 12 weeks to process. Okay, what do I want to communicate to you? I want you to write this number down, because after we send in your information, and we try and send your information in 2 to 4 weeks from the time you finish the course. If after 12 weeks from that point you haven't heard from them, actually you won't hear from them, you haven't seen your salary points appear on the website, please call this number and just ask them, where are you in processing my salary points? And some of the students have told me recently their salary points actually have gotten applied, but they're just not showing up on the website. So it's really important that you also understand that at the end of each course you'll fill out a form and you'll type in the completion date that you finished the course. So even though it takes them 12 weeks after that date, they will retroactively apply basically the salary points to your salary point schedule according to when you finish the course, not according to when they actually finish processing. And so that's important to know. Okay, so now let's jump really quickly over to QuikiTech, and I just want to show you a few things with QuikiTech. This will be quick, but it's important for you that you get these concepts and do these tasks at the beginning of your experience with QuikiTech. The first thing I would say is, please scroll down and go to My Profile Settings. Click on that, click on Edit Profile, and it's very important to me that you go ahead and check your first name and your last name. Make sure it's not your username that's there, but it's your real first name and last name. Put in the email address that you most commonly check so that our alerts basically reach you and you can get them quickly. Go ahead and modify this according to your preference. If you want your email to show up on your profile, you can leave as the default. If you want to hide your email so it's not on your profile, go ahead and click Hide Email. And then please do additional 2 other things. Number 1 is click on Interests and go ahead and put what grade you teach, and click on User Picture And you don't have to put a picture of yourself, but put a picture of something that interests you. If you like dogs, put a dog. If you like biking, put a picture of a bike. But personalize your profile. This will be very meaningful, particularly as you post ideas on forums that are in certain of our classes. Okay, then once you've done that, go ahead and click Update Profile. Then the other thing I want to show you is some of you are going to want to take more than one class, or you're going to want to purchase more than one class at a time. So basically, when you click on QuikiTech and you're logged in, you'll see My Courses. And sometimes I put out a special so that the prices drop, and you may say, you know what, I want to take those classes, but I'm in one class right now. Should I go ahead and buy another class right now while the special is hot? And I'm saying yes, go ahead and buy the class now. You can scroll down, go to all courses, and then just go ahead and purchase 2, 3, or more courses at a time. We have a policy that your course will not expire for a full year from the time you start the course. So if right now you're taking the Google course, and it's going to take you, say, 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks to complete it, but you've also purchased the iPad course. Well, you may not start the iPad course till January of the next year. Well, that's fine. Go ahead and purchase it now, take advantage of the special, and then you have a full year to the following January to finish. And so you always have plenty of time to finish all the courses that you have purchased. Okay, let's go really quickly to a particular course. If we click on Gmail and Google Tools course, I want to make sure that you're clear always how to get back to this page. Always go to the left and click on the name of the course. That will always bring you back to this page. The other thing I want to highlight is we have basically 3 types of end of lesson activities. We have quizzes, we have homework, and we have forums. The quiz, really short answers that you can put in. Homework, they're a little longer answers. And the forum, when you click on the forum, this allows you to collaborate with other students. Go ahead and click on Add New Discussion Topic whenever you add a new thought, and then go ahead and click on someone's name and look at what they've posted. Your feedback to them will be important. Even if you just say, hey, you know what, that was a great post, that provides me value in what I do. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, then the last thing I want to go ahead and mention is, you'll sometimes notice some words that seem to be misspelled. Like, for instance, if you click on some of the words enroll here, like for instance, this says unenroll, it doesn't have a second L. Well, that's because the site is actually by default in UK, United Kingdom English. You can just go to this third tab and change it to United States English, and that will modify some of the wording. I think that's important because I've been getting some questions on that particular item. So that's the conclusion of this particular introduction. Again, you only need to watch this once. After you take future classes, feel free to watch it again if you want to review. You don't have to, but it's very important that you plan your salary point process and that you take these courses with an amount of enthusiasm to get in, get the value, go ahead and get out. And I would say please answer the homework assignments, the quizzes, and the forums with really thoughtful and meaningful ideas, because this will really enrich your experience of obtaining the concepts for the particular class you've just purchased. Thank you very much, and we'll talk to you soon.